glider, the way we always practiced it, except that I'd never been in the air with a whole army before. 3 airborne divisions, the 6th British and 82nd and 101st American. Just before the glider pilot cast off over the landing zone, I wished her good luck over the radio. It seemed a sort of inadequate thing to say.
As Supreme Commander, let me break in at this point to say just a word about the Navy. From the moment of embarkation to that of landing, the full burden fell upon the Navy and our merchant fleets. They had to sweep the mines, bombard the coastal batteries, marshal and protect the transports along the coastline preparatory to landing, and finally, man the small boats that carried the soldiers to the beach. On that day, there were more than 8,000 ships and landing craft on the shores of Normandy. It was a most intricate task and a vital one for the success of our plans. The courage, fidelity, and skill of the Royal and American Navies have no brighter page in their histories than that of June 6, 1944.
Back in London, only a few people knew. It was a well-kept secret. Around daybreak, we correspondents were called and told to be at the Ministry of Information at 8. Then they told us.
They called our beach Omaha. Don't ask me why. I've never been to Omaha, the one in Nebraska, I mean. If it's anything like Omaha, France, you can have it. I understand Omaha was the roughest spot. We lost some good men, took a few prisoners. It was a lousy trade. We've been told what to expect, so it wasn't like a surprise or anything. It just, well, when it really happens, it's different. For a while there, we were pinned down, but a lucky thing, the other beaches were going better, so we got a little more than our share of the old teamwork. Navy come in, the air guys, and finally we got moving good. You know, you hear a lot about how long it takes to make battle-hardened soldiers out of green troops. Listen, I got to be a veteran in one day. That day.
And
So they paved the beaches with their blood and lurched across the dunes and reached the roads. The German parried fiercely. In the depths of rich green pastured Normandy, the 3 airborne divisions, first of all to land, fought lion-like against most grievous odds. And loud across the cratered face of France came German reinforcements. From Berlin, a voice cried out the Allies must be hurled into the sea before another day had burned its hole in history. Locked in battle, the armies clashed. Our first objective, then, was to merge all the beachheads into one, and 50 miles of men drive on together beyond the red sands through the broken wall.
Where I was, it wasn't too bad getting ashore. After that it started. We had to fight for every bloody field. And it was the same each time. You crawl on your belly, keeping your backside down like you'd been told, chuck in a few hand grenades, then rush them. Sometimes they killed us, but we were killing more of them. The trickiest part was the farms. They were regular little jerry fortresses. If we couldn't manage them on our own, then we'd have to wait while the company commander called back for artillery support. The Navy was still with us too, chucking in shells ahead of us. In 3 days we advanced 7 miles. Then we were told to stand fast and dig in. Next morning we heard the news. We got it from the BBC. It sounded great. We'd joined up all along the bridgehead. There was a solid line, 45 miles of it. We'd got a foothold. We were in.
We didn't have to do much navigating to get there. You just followed the convoys. I was doing close support. We waited around, and then the ground troops would whistle us out and told us about some Hun target they wanted removed, and then in we go. We were like taxis on a cab rank.
There's something nice about a beach, any beach. You think of a beach, and chances are you'll remember something nice, like a party or a picnic. Pals from the old days, girls in bathing suits. But the one I worked, Utah, looked more like a freight yard once we got going. For quite a while, we brought most supplies right over the open beach, like we'd practiced it and like we'd made up as we went along. We worked a 24-hour shift with ducks, lights, rafts, rowboats, all sorts of Rube Goldbergs. The stuff just kept pouring in. Tanks, trucks, food, ammo, guys, millions of things.
We didn't think we'd spend 15 days in the same field outside Caen, with the wood behind us and the Germans in another wood half a mile in front of us, and a little empty valley in between, each side mortaring each other all the time. Just meant you had to live in a slit trench, and you got into a routine. You know, stand through from 4:30 to 5:30, and 2 hours wait for breakfast. Came up fairly hot. Tin bacon or sausage, tea, and of course biscuits. We've been living on compo food since D-Day. It was good food, but, well, you know, you got tired of it. I'd have given a lot for a slice of fresh bread and butter or a cup of fresh tea. 15 days is a long time to stay in one place and be mortared. You get so you think everyone's coming straight for you.
Every case we ever had, especially the first one. The ambulance brought him in late one afternoon. I came over to where he was lying, and he looked up and grinned. I asked him how he felt. He said something about the German with a machine pistol, using him for a dartboard. He was quiet and patient and a little bewildered. He'd never been hurt before. He asked how the fighting was going, then he passed out. The doctor came over and looked at his wounds and then swore. Said he had no business to be alive. We put him on the operating table and did what we could. The doctor kept swearing all the time he was operating. We couldn't stop the bleeding. I remember the radio news that night. They said the casualties had been surprisingly light.